Amazingly, the Dash 80 remained in service with Boeing for 18 years as a test plane, and in 1972 it was retired and turned over to the National Air and Space Museum. It sat idle in the Arizona desert for 18 years. In May 1990, under an arrangement with the Smithsonian, Boeing returned the aeroplane to Seattle for a full restoration program. The Dash 80 was the plane that tested many of the revolutions we as travelers enjoy today. The Dash 80 established the classic configuration for jetliners to come. It also set speed records nearly every time it flew. Its swept-back wing is used on nearly every plane today. Dash 80 has approximately 3,000 hours of flight recorded in its logbook. Although it led to a revolution in air transportation, Dash 80 never entered commercial service itself. It was always a one-off development plane. However, the gift of Dash 80 is the birth of much larger, faster and smoother planes that quickly changed the face of international travel.
All right, well, here's what's up on the bench next. But as you've seen from the intro, this is not going to be what it shows on the box. This originally started out as the EC-135C looking glass, the airborne command post. But the decals were shot, and I looked and looked and looked for decals for it, and I could not find anything. I wanted it to be that, and I could not find any replacement decals. There were tons and tons of decals for other planes of this category here, but did not find any for the looking glass. So I gave up, and I just happened to be watching, and now the name of the show escapes me. It was a show about airplanes and stuff, and it happened to show the Boeing 707-80, and I knew right then and there that that's what I wanted this to be. And I'm gonna back the camera up here a little bit, if it'll cooperate. There we go. And here is what I've got done so far. I've done a lot of the seam work. Everything is looking, and I'm really far away from the workbench, so I've got to readjust my lights here a little bit. I've done quite a bit of the seam work. I've still got to go back in and touch up a few spots. I had to go in and remove everything here that was for the refueling, because if you don't build the looking glass, you can also build like a KC-35 or KC-135 super tanker, and it had all the refueling apparatus and craparatus and everything on it. So I removed all of that, and also it had belly lines that went across. I mean, there was probably, I don't know, in the neighborhood of probably 20 lines that went across here. Maybe not 20, about 15, 16 lines. And I sanded all those and got rid of all that. And I've got the wings pretty much assembled. This is the centerpiece. The reason I hadn't glued all this together is because I've got to find the center point, because I'm going to I'll take a block of wood, and I'm going to glue the block of wood, actually epoxy it right dead center of this thing, and drill me a mounting hole. And this is what I'm putting it in flight, and this is going to be the stand for it. I made that stand a while back and was holding on to it for some odd reason, and I don't remember what it was. And then when this project come along, then I knew exactly. I was like, I know I got a display stand. I want to put this in flight, and so that's what I did. And like I said, I got to go in here, probably go not dead center of the doors there, but probably just forward just a little bit. Got a little booger right there that I got to patch up. But yeah, that's got the parts here, and I've got this is the bulkhead, also the wing support. This is the bulkhead for where the landing gear is. Here is the center bulkhead, but this won't be used because I've got to put the block of wood where that's going to go. And I got my engines all done up and primered. Just need to detail paint those. Here's the other two. There's two different style engines. You see this one's got a longer trailing edge on it. And this is the top spire. I'm assuming this is like a pitot tube, so to speak, wind speed or whatever. And then I got my clear parts. You know, and then the stand, because I've done everything else. The interior is already in it, which you're not going to see much of the interior anyway. And you know, like I say, this is just a project that I wanted to finish up. It's something I had started probably a year, maybe a little over a year ago. But I'm going to go ahead and I've got the paint pretty much for it. I got a color is kind of questionable. I've got to test it first. I'm going to use the big rattle can paint, Krylon or Rust-Oleum. I've got the white for it. I've got the yellow for it. I've got the gray for it. But what is throwing me off is finding the reddish brown that goes on it. So, but anyway, it's not going to get any lights. This is just a simple build. I'm kind of taking a back seat on putting lights and things at the moment. Like I said, I just want to get this finished up. I had thought about, I do have one of Tenor Control's airplane boards, but I have that for another project, which is coming up fairly soon. So, you know, the spoiler alert there, you know, I got another aircraft coming up. But I thought about putting lights in this, but, you know, then I decided not to. I may have to, yeah, like I say, the reddish brown, I don't want to use acrylic paints on this, but I may have to mix my own if I can't find anything that will, you know, fit the bill, because I've got, it's like garnet, no, not darn it, but garnet, which is, you know, my wife is a big Seminole fan, garnet and gold. So yeah, I've got cans of garnet. And then I've got a brick color, which is really, really close. But I don't think it's not the color that I want to use. So, but like I say, I'll figure it out by the time I get to that point. All right, and lastly, this is the colors that I intend on using on the aircraft. This is going to be the yellow for the top. Then it gets a small white stripe that breaks up the yellow and the reddish brown. And this is the brown that I'm going to use. This is a satin brick color. This is the closest that I could come to the color on the plane in a rattle can. And the reason I'm using rattle cans is, you know, it's such a large surface. You know, I'm not going to you know, work the airbrush half to death just trying to paint it. And then I've got two grays here. I'm not sure that I'll use both of the grays, because it looks like the wings and the bottom of the fuselage are two different shades of gray. So I've got those just in case I'm going to do a little more research. But yeah, this is the one that was in question. I'm going to go ahead and do some testing and make sure that that's the right color that you know, right color for the plane, or close enough anyway. But yep, that is going to be it. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and get started back on this thing. I've been wanting to finish it up, so this is going to be kind of a short update. I got some work done on the Dash 80. Everything is just mocked up right there. I've just got it propped up on the stand. Got the antenna. I called that a pitot tube, and I wasn't quite sure what it was. It ends up, it's like a shockwave antenna. Thanks, Mike, for pointing that out. So I got the white that's on the fuselage is primer. I use a Rust-Oleum white primer because I'm going to paint the bottom section white, and then I'm going to run white paint down the side of it, and then let that cure, and then I'm going to mask off for the, going to mask the bottom off, and then I'm going to mask off for the white stripe, and then paint the yellow, and then the only thing I'll have left to do is paint the reddish brown on there. The bottom section of the wing here is not painted. What I'm doing, and I can't find any reference photos, so I'm assuming that the bottom of the wings are white as well. The top of the wings I have got painted, and I painted them gray. It's a light gray, so there will be a decent little contrast between the two. I have determined that the bottom half of the plane is white, and like I say, then the wings, the top, I know the top of them are gray, and then I painted the bottom of them white. So may be wrong, but that's the way mine's going to be, because like I say, I have not been able to find anything to determine otherwise. So it doesn't matter. Most of the planes are all white on the bottom like this anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Once it's sitting on display, nobody's going to pick it up and look and say, "Oh, you effed up on the wings here." It's gonna be a nice looking display. This is the brown that is going to be on the plane, and this is the and I don't have the can with me, but this is the satin brick color. It needs to be just a little bit darker, but it'll work out, for the reddish brown that's going to be on the plane. This, like I say, one of the engines. Got to go back in after the paint cures. I'm going to mask off the line there, and then paint the pylon the same color gray as the top of the wing. So got all 4 engines painted. I've got to go back in and do the turbine and the spinner. The spinner, the pictures I've seen, the spinner is either a light gray or a light beige. It could be the lighting, so I'm probably going to paint it light gray. So, and this is the top of the rear wing. That's the bottom. Decent little finish on it. It's going, once I get everything painted and everything, then I'm going to future the whole deal anyway. Future, it's in the future. It's all done. I had a question if I was going to make my own decals, or if I had a source online. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a vinyl stencil, and I'm going to lay it down, and I don't have the reference with me. There's 2 different Boeings on there. There's one up here that is in the brown, and I know the one on the tail is it says Boeing 707, then it has the numbers. That's in brown as well. And then in the brown section is a yellow Boeing, but like I say, I don't have the picture with me at the moment to tell you where what is and where is and why it is, and but I intend, I've already got the templates made up. I've just got to resize them after I get the paint get all the paint laid down on it. That way I know exactly what size I need for each one. I've got the tail, the numbers are on the front here, and then it says Boeing 707. On the other side, it's flipped around, so I've had to make 2 different templates for that. But the Boeing that, in the Boeing that is written in brown, and then the Boeing that is written in yellow, I've just got to resize that to match my paint. So I can't do it without and get it correct without doing having the paint down on it first. So getting a little long-winded, but not going to be able to do anything on this for the next 3 days. That Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is supposed to rain like crazy, so there's no painting going to be done. I would have liked to have been able to get the white on this. That way, at least by Tuesday, I could have come back in and masked off the white for the white lines and stuff. But it is what it is. I'm in no hurry whatsoever. I did work on a little plaque to go on the front of here. It'll be I will make a water slide decal to go on there. I just put some tape down and done the pencil method to get the outline here, and then I put it over in my Paint Shop Pro program, and like I say, I come up with a decent looking little plaque that's going to go on there. Got some more work done to the Dash 80. Got the undercarriage, the belly of it painted. I misquoted. I said that the underside was supposed to be white. It is actually supposed to be gray. Then what you're seeing white here will be the red stripe, or the brown, reddish brown. And I've got masking tape on the top there that is going to be the actual white stripe. I've got to go back in these stripes here on the top where it comes back to the point. This one actually comes back a little further. Right here, it comes back a little further than this one does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to reposition this tape just a little bit, and that will take care of that. That'll bring the stripe over a little bit more, and it will bring the main tips, like here and here, where the edge is. Like I say, this one comes back just a little further than that one. But all in all, I'm very surprised that these stripes came out as straight as they did. I eyeballed them, and when I had the tape on the line here, because when I painted the gray, I had another. I used my orange 1/8 inch pinstripe tape and run the line down there so I get a nice crisp line out of it. But the top edge of the line here, because I got the orange tape, and then I used a green 1/16 tape to get the line wider on the top here. But from the top edge of that line to the bottom edge of this line, all the way across was even. And like I say, I eyeballed it, and I am just fascinated, that it came out, straight, and I did that on both sides. So like I say, the white that you're seeing, let me reposition just a little bit. The white that you're seeing will be the reddish brown, but I'm letting the yellow cure up. I did, as you see, I was able to get some paint on it before the rain set in. It's supposed to rain again today. It's actually sun shining is right now, but I've got major puddles in my yard and everything in it, so that it's really damp, and I'm not going to attempt to try to paint that red on there. Got the engines pretty much done up. I've got I say pretty much done up. I got 2 of the colors on it. I've got to go back in and do the turbine, which I'm going to do in a gunmetal. Probably doing a light gunmetal or a dark aluminum or dull aluminum, and then I'm going to do the spinner in gray. And then I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a line that goes across here. From that line back gets. I'm going to do it in brilliant aluminum, and then come back in and do some shading on it to represent kind of heat staining on it. But working on it, just kind of got everything in mock-up. I was looking at it, and right along where these wings attach, I'm going to have an issue. You see there's a kind of there's especially, you can see the gap going the wing edge, and then right here there's a gap. Now when I glue it together, it's got to come up, and that'll take care of some of it. But when I was dry fitting everything was fitting together really good, but where this bottom section here glues in underneath, I've got a ridge right there, and I don't want to clamp it down, because if I clamp it down, then I'm gonna break the seam here. I'm gonna bust that seam back loose, and then I'm gonna have a mess to fix. So it may end up having a little bit of a ridge there. I will glue. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue the front section in first, because I got where is it? I still got the cross member to put in. Here it is. I still got this to put in. I'm not going to bother painting it, because you're never going to see it, but I still got this to go up underneath of it. So these wings can't be glued together and then placed on the plane. I've got to glue this middle section of the wing section in, put this in first, and this gives me the bow that I need. And just dry fitting that on the underpiece, I can see where it needs to come up to meet this curvature. So get this glued in, and then I will get that part glued in. I'll glue in the front part here first, and then glue in the back part. That because it's kind of got a twist to it, or not a twist, but it's a little bit offset. The front, I can get the front lined up, and then the back is offset a little bit. So I'll get the front glued in and get it cured and everything, and then I'll kind of persuade the back section to go over to where it's supposed to go, and then I'll get it glued in. I'm probably going to use epoxy to do all that. What I'm thinking about doing is going in with a small piece of styrene and create a lip on the inside of there. That way it gives me something to glue this to, instead of the bottom of the wing just kind of button up to the underside of the fuselage. And that'll give me something to glue to. And then once that is set up, then I will persuade the wings to come up to meet this.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
And then I'll be able to glue the top sections on. I'm still going to have a little seam work to do along the front edge, the leading edge of this wing. So what I will do is I will fill whatever gap is left over. I will fill that in with my white tulip. And I don't use this as a putty, because you can't really sand this stuff. I mean, you can wipe it off for a period of time, just short period of time, with water. But once it sets up, it turns into like rubber, and you're not going to do a whole lot of sanding. I just use this to, that's going to be a natural seam on that wing. So I just use this to run a bead across there, and then I wipe it off with a damp paper towel, and that gets rid of that gap. And what I mean by gap is when you come up and you look at it, and you can look down through it and see, down through the hole. It gets rid of the hole, and it makes it one piece, but the seam is still there. So that's what I use tulip for. I use it, like I say, for gap filling. Now I do use it a lot of times as a prelude to putty. Now, like if this was a really wide seam, then I would use the tulip to fill the gap, and then wipe it down. And then after the tulip set up, then I would come back in with the putty, and that that helps the putty not have to work so hard and trying to fill up a big hole or a big seam or whatever. So, but that's where I'm at. I've got I went back in and I repainted the wings, because I had them painted white. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I went in and I got them all painted gray, top and bottom. And I think that's pretty much it. This thing does have some top glass that goes here. That's not really supposed to be there. I was looking at the pictures of the Dash 80, and I'm like, well, damn, I should have filled those in, but I didn't. And it's got some glass here, some top windows above the cockpit. Well, those are so small that there was no possible way I could mask them off. And this cockpit, you got a top section here that glues to the cockpit, and then you glue the whole deal in. So it was been very difficult to go back in or to mask all those off. So I'm going to go back in and just mask them off with some, and paint them black. You're not going to really see anything inside of the cockpit anyway, which I do have the stuff in there. I've got the full cockpit is in it, but we're getting there. And so I'm just going to leave that here at the moment. I don't know how much work I'm going to get done this week on this because, like I say, of the rain. The Dash 80 is finished. I really like how this turned out. This was a really fun build, something that I wanted to do. I did have a few issues, and I will show you and explain those in just a moment. But right now I'm just going to show what she looks like. Like I said, I think it turned out really, really good. This is the 172 scale of the AMT Ertl, the looking glass, the EC 135C. Like I said, it's in 172 scale, so she is a pretty good sized bird. Now with the issues that I had, I'll start off with my markings. The markings that's in the reddish brown here and on the tail, those are masks, and for the most part they did pretty good. This one here is just a tad lower, and my turntable sticking a little bit, is just a tad lower than this side is, but it's perfectly fine. I mean, I can live with it. It's no issue. This I printed up in a yellow decal. I made a yellow decal for the Boeing, and I knew going into it that putting a yellow decal, if it was not backed in white, was going to disappear on the reddish brown stripe. So what I did was I printed up, I used my vinyl cutter and I cut out the Boeing in white vinyl, and I put that down and then put the decal over top of it, and that gave me the white backing for the yellow decal, so it just didn't disappear. But what I didn't take into consideration was the vinyl being raised a bit, and then when I laid the decal over it and put my solution on it, the yellow doesn't quite cover the Boeing, or doesn't quite cover the white vinyl that's underneath. On the ING is where it starts. You know, the B and the E, BOE is fine, but then the ING, there is you can see a little bit of white trail off of it, and it's the same way on the other side. But I wasn't going to print up more decals, and getting this is permanent vinyl. The white vinyl that I put down was permanent vinyl, so trying to peel that back off would have ended up peeling off my paint. So it's just one of those things that you know, one of those oh crap moments. You know, like I said, I didn't take into consideration. When I printed up the decals, I should have bumped up the size on the yellow decal for Boeing just a tad, but I didn't. Now on the back here, where it says Boeing 707, you may see that the B may look a little funny. The stencil was kind of too small to get those two dots to stick. I could when I peeled it off, you know, peeled the mask off, trying to set it up to put it on here. Those two little dots to finish out the B just did not want to stick to the vinyl, you know, the vinyl backing paper. Like I said, they were just too small and wouldn't do it. So I went back in with a toothpick, and I dotted it where the yellow openings are, and I dotted it with white, and then I come back in, I touched it up with the yellow, and where you see the N70700 or N70700, I had to end up putting that in black vinyl because once again it was way too small. I had the vinyl mask set up for it, but it was just way too small to get the the lettering to come out right, or the numbering or whatever. So, and it's the same way on both sides. You know, and the B here is the same way. And but it worked out great as far as that goes. The Boeing 707 looks good, with the exception of the two little dots in the B, and the numbers came out great, I thought, or come out good. One thing that I didn't do on here that I should have done, you know, but after I started getting stuff together, you know, I just elected not to do it, because at the time that I remembered, you know, I was going to do it, but then I forgot about it. Right underneath this red or reddish brown stripe here on the back, it's supposed to be a circle, or it's supposed to curve. It comes down and then curves around and then goes up to the other side, and this little point is supposed to be the yellow, like you see here. So I didn't do that. Like I say, it was at the time I remembered that I needed to do that. It was going to be too much trouble and aggravation to do it, so I just elected not to do it. And then you can see my display plaque that I made here. It says -80, and I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit. It says -80 Boeing 707. And let's see if I can scoot this back just a tad. So I think that turned out pretty good. Inside the engines, the turbine inside here, I went in with a Dura aluminum and painted the fan blades, and then came back with a light gray and painted the cones. And then it's got the I didn't do anything fancy on the aluminum tips at the end of it. I was going to, you know, make them look like burnt metal and stuff, but it's just a display model. It's not going to be put on display for an award winner or anything. It's just made to look good on my shelf. But all in all, I think it turned out really good. And I just remembered something that I needed to do, is I got to go back in and touch up the windows. I got a big truck just went by, so sorry about that. I got to go back in and touch up the windows here with black paint. That I need to finish that. I forgot about that. So, but anyway, I'm calling it done. This is the final video on it. So hope you enjoyed the build. I really enjoyed making it. Like I say, when I saw the picture of the airplane, actually there's a little video clip on Flying Through Time, I think it was, or Moving Through Time. I'm pretty sure it was Flying Through Time. It was on History Channel. I seen this airplane on there, and I knew I wanted to build it. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next build.